Hi guys, I'm Yunus with the Association of Science, Technology, Innovation. I'm here today to explain to you the Feynman Challenge 2022 to give you a brief overview and how you participate in the ASTI Feynman Challenge 2022. And I'm going to explain a little bit more about the Feynman technique, right? So that you get an idea of how the Feynman technique works, so that you can actually use it, right? So this is our website. So you go to our asti.org.my/AFC2022 website, and then backslash again. So you straight away see you'll land on this particular page, ASTI Feynman Challenge 2022, right? And then you can look at all the information that's here. So when you start off, right, the Feynman Challenge, this is a brief introduction on how and why we started the Feynman Challenge. And then we got the registration forms, right? Any questions you want to ask, there's the email. And then we've got the AFC launch video. So make sure you try to watch this video, because there's a brief explanation on why the Feynman Challenge was launched and what is the benefit of you participating in the Feynman Challenge, right? And this is the timelines. So go through all the timelines, right? We have extended the timeline, the submission deadline. Because of COVID, and a lot of things are still changing at the moment. So we are a little bit flexible with these dates, but then not too flexible. So if you really have some issues or that you are facing, that you are unable to meet all these timelines, please do email us and let us know. And then we'll tell you whether or not we are able to give you any kind of extensions if need be, right? But try to stick to this timeline, try to be disciplined in that sense. Then we got the AFC poster. So this brief explanation on the Feynman Challenge and the prizes and whatnot. The terms and conditions, please go through the terms and conditions. These are very important. There's very simple terms and conditions, like in all competitions we have that. We also got a frequently asked questions. This is for those participating from Malaysia. This is the Ministry of Education approval for AFC. So you can download that and have a look. So now we're going to the modules. So to go into the modules, let me go to the other website. So you have to register. So you have to put in your name, your email, and your phone number. So it doesn't necessarily need to be you. It can be your parent, or it can be your teacher or your mentor, whoever. They can register. And then once you have registered, the screen will change like this. So thank you for registration. Download all these modules. So these are all the modules available. Module 1 is how to do a video, right? So this is basically, it's more like production now. So how to do a video and work with your child. So remember, this was done during the COVID-19 lockdown. So a lot of the projects were done from school, from the home, right? So parents were involved. So there's also a brief explanation how you as a parent can help your child do a video as well. And then module 2 is the Feynman technique, right? So I'm going to very briefly explain to you the Feynman technique, because I think this is very important. So this is our 3rd year into our program. So we want to see some element of the Feynman technique in your video, right? So for that, let me move the video a little bit, right? And then let me go to the full screen. Stop sharing, right? Okay. So this is what the Feynman technique is. It's very simple, just 4 steps, right? Step 1, choose the concept that you want to explain. Step 2, explain the concept. Step 3, identify gaps in your explanation, right? And then if you are still not happy, you still see more gaps, go back and re-explain, right? And then you check again whether there's any more gaps in your explanation. Meaning, one way you say identify gaps means, is your explanation easy to understand? So when you do the second round, if your explanation is still not easy to explain or to understand, for say someone else to understand, then you go back and do the explanation again and keep doing it until your explanation is easy and complete. In a way that, say, for example, a young person, say your younger brother or your younger sister, or someone who doesn't know anything about science. So you explain to them, and if they cannot understand, that means you have not used the Feynman technique well. So only if they can understand, then the Feynman technique has worked for you. So it's a way of, the Feynman technique is a way of explaining something which is complex in a simple and easy way to understand, right? So that is this process. Finally, the review process. So review process, so you've done, let's say you have agreed, you're happy with the explanation, you do a video. Now you can take the video and show it to your friends. You can have a party even. You can call all the friends, say your younger friends, or you can call people who are not science background people, and let them look at your video and give you comments. Okay, this is good, or maybe you should change that. Or they may even give you comments on the video, for example. Let's say your lighting is like this, maybe you can change the lighting or that. So you go to the review process. Then, if you're happy with the review process, you can submit your video. In the review process, I've got certain recommendation. So these are the third party that's listening to your explanation. They are not too happy. They say you can change and improve. Then you go back and redo the video, right? And then you'll have your final product. Then you can submit your video, right? Now I'm going to very quickly give an example, right, of the final technique. And this is, I said, we don't have much time, so I'm going to give you a very, very, very simplified example. So let's say this is a car, right? This is a car, right? It is not too clear. Let me get something which is clearer. So as you can see, my drawing is no good. So one reason why I became a science guy, not an artist, because very bad drawing. Right? So this is the car. And the car is moving. Right? So the car is first stagnant and it's moving. Now what causes the car to move is this thing called force. Right? Diet. No, in Malay it's called diet. So force, right? Now, let's say you want to explain force. You have already got your first step completed. So you have chosen the concept, which is force, right? Then you go into explaining this. So how would I explain this, right? So you can say F force is something that causes change. This is change. What is the change? The car is moving. Car was stagnant, now the car is moving. So there's a change in the car, which is because it's moving. Therefore, you're using, you say the force creates the change, right? Now, is this easy to understand? Some would say yes. For someone who understands science, maybe someone who's in Form 3, Form 4 may understand. But would say someone in Standard 3 or Standard 2 or your younger brother, right? Or even someone who doesn't know anything about science, never heard of force, and then you say force is something that causes change. Would this person be able to understand, right? So there is a gap in explanation because if you ask me, it's still too complex for anyone to understand, right? So now you have to simplify it, right? So you identify the gap. The gap is it is still too complicated to understand because I do not understand change. So if I do not understand change, I won't understand force, right? So that's your gap, right? So you go back to the explanation. So you re-explain. So how would I re-explain? So you can re-explain by using a number. In this case, it would be the car. So you can say force causes the car to move, right? So you can say this as an explanation. So you have explained it. Car causes the force causes the car to move. And I say this is your explanation. What is the gap? The gap is still, what about a motorbike? So if a motorbike moves, is force involved, right? So you may want to improve the explanation and say force causes things or stuff. You can use simple English. You don't have to use complex. Oh, you can just use car causes stuff to move. Right? So that is a better explanation. Right? So I'm going to stop at this. There may be more iterations, but I'm going to stop at this. Let's say you are happy with this. You can call your friends. They explain. They are happy also. You can do a video and then submit. So the process is complete. Right? Now, in the ASTI Feynman challenge, there is an element of innovation. Right? So you can use a normal car. Let's say a car. You can use the car and then move it and then say, the car is moving because, a toy car, you can use a toy car. The toy car is moving because of the force of my finger. You can do that. And you get full marks for explanation. Maybe you get a lot of marks for explanation, but you won't get any marks for innovation. But that's so simple, a car. Anyone can do that. So can you invent a different way of doing it, of explaining it? Instead of a car, use something else. Use a different example. Or invent something, right? Invent a product. Or you can do an experiment. But it cannot be an experiment from your textbook. If it is forced and you use an experiment for your textbook, again, you'll get a lot of marks for explanation, right? Explanation, but you won't get a lot of marks for innovation. Because the innovation is you just follow the textbook, right? So can you invent your own experiment? Or can you modify the experiment which is already in textbook, so that it's different, right? Meaning you have invented the experiment, right? If you can, then for AFC, ASTI Feynman challenge, you get full marks, or maybe not, you'll get a lot of marks for explanation, and innovation. Basically, you get a lot of marks for explaining and a lot of marks for innovation. So then you have your video would get a lot of marks up, then you got a better chance of winning. Right? So this is what the Feynman challenge is all about. Right? So again, it's a very simplified version, so I don't want to go too deep into this, but this is just to give you an idea. Okay. So now let me go back to this one. So let me do a share screen. Go back to the website. So there's explanation on the Feynman technique. So have a look at this. And think about the example I gave you as well. And there are plenty of other examples as well. Right? And then the module 3 is teaching method and developing a lesson. Right? Now you may ask, why is this important for me? I'm a student, right? But we have included this so that we want you to be a teacher. So, the Feynman technique says that the best way to learn a scientific concept, and especially a complex scientific concept, is to actually teach it, right? So by going through this module 3, you learn to become a teacher. You learn to explain stuff, right? So again, it may not be in the teaching, the judging criteria, but by you going through this, you would learn to be a teacher. So you learn more things, right? And module 4 is the same, project management and planning. Again, this is about turning your entire thing into a project. So from the day you start, what are the equipments you need? It's like a production. When you do a video, like a filmmaking, you do a production. A production is not just about getting the actors, getting the people. If you need some kind of finance, right? Some funding, say you need 20 ringgit or 30 ringgit to buy stuff. So all that element is put into the project planning, right? So go to the module and you learn about project management, right? It may or may not help you with the judging criteria, but for us, that is not important. For us, it's all about what you learn. So if you want to learn the maximum from participating from Feynman Challenge, go through module 3 and 4. It will be very useful for you. Okay. Module 5 is basically how to be a YouTuber, right? How to upload your stuff into YouTube and submission guidelines and all that. Module 6 is about invention, right? What is an invention? So to give you an idea of what an invention is. So for us, let me reiterate, you need to come up with innovation. So it can be number one, a product. Number two, it can be a new experiment. Number three, it can even be a story. You can tell a story. You can even come up with actors, say 5 of you can, one person represent different acting, and then you come up with a script, and then you act it out with props and all that, right? So that one also we accept as an invention or an innovation because it's storytelling. But it cannot be a story which is already existing there. Like you must invent a new story. If you use an old story, then you may not get full marks for the innovation side, right? Then module 7 is the judging criteria. So what are the criteria that the judges are going to use, right? And as I said, so if you look at judging criteria, there may not be a lot of things in module 4. So you say, okay, I don't want to learn module 4 because it's not important for my judging one. But that is if you think that, oh, I only want to win. But if you think in terms of, I want to learn a lot of things, then it's not important. Actually, the judging criteria is not the only thing which is important. Then I would suggest you look at module 3 and module 4 as well, because you can learn more things. Then we got the ASC submission, video submission. What do you call this? This would be the submission form, which will be uploaded soon once the registration is over. And then we got summary, and then we got a press note, and all that, and so on and so forth. Right? So basically, everything that you need is in this website. Right? So please go through this website. And then if you got any questions or any things that you think that you do not understand, or you think that, hey, I don't feel this is right, maybe we can improve, please come back to us and give us feedback, ask us questions, and we are able to apply some of the changes if you want. But more importantly, we are able to answer any questions that you have. That's what we are hoping for your participation this year. Okay. So with that, I think I've already come to the end of my explanation. We hope to see you at the, or at least I'm looking forward. I'm not a judge. I'm not a good judge because I give everybody full marks. I'm very, very lenient in that sense. That's one of the reasons why I'm not a judge. But I do look at your videos, and I enjoy a lot of the videos. Like last year, I enjoyed those videos. So I really look forward to seeing your videos in the final. And good luck participating in ASTI 2022. Thank you and goodbye.